I hear your pain and suffering. You say, I'm trying, High Lord Oklahoma, but I'm getting absolutely fucking clapped. We all are, partner. We all are. Burst is through the roof, and you're surrounded by line of sighting DPS who don't even pop their defensives. And the frustration grows, and it burns. Good. These are the flames of service, for you have been chosen by the light to place protection on the moron and grant freedom to the imbecile. And as you dance in and out of these flames, your weakness shall melt away, and your will shall be battered into a glorious and unbreakable spirit. Do not be discouraged, my young paladins. You are not failing. You are being forged. Don't get yourself all worked up about shit you can't control. People get all twisted about balance or this and that. This game has never been fucking balanced, and it never fucking will be. And if you're going to come out into the world of PvP where all the men are, you can just get it out of your head. Don't worry about shit like that. You worry about kicking ass in the name of the light. And your boy Oklahoma's going to get you squared away right now on a few things that I think, especially if you're starting out, give you a few things that you can focus on to really help you get up and running and kicking ass like you're supposed to be. So, without further ado, let's get you trained up. I want to remind you that I'm not some top tier player up here, okay? You're not going to see me up here at the top. This is probably like 4 guys in their ults, but this is the top of the top. And if you're wanting to get up to this level, pretty much if you're wanting to get on the front page here, you need to go either watch these guys on stream or, a lot of these guys have YouTube channels. And I try to link the best ones that I find so that you guys have access to them. But if you're trying to get to the very, very tip top, first off, you're just going to have to play a lot more than I do. And number 2, at this level, there's a lot of skill involved that I'm just not going to have. If you're satisfied with maybe being down here on the second page, did I make the second page? Well, there we go. So, I'm not a page 1 guy. I'm a page 2 guy down here. I don't have an alt or anything, so those are all my games played so far. I hit it hard because I wanted to give you guys, the best advice that I could come up with. But if you want to be up there with the best, you're going to have to find yourself a Twitchy. But I can get you on the second page if that's good enough for you. You know what you don't see on here, though, that's kind of interesting, is I don't see any other Lightforged. Okay, I checked the top. Those are human, dark iron, human, dark iron. A lot of human and dwarf. Uh-oh. Okay, that's regular Draenei. Tauren Paladins, just LOL. As of the time of this filming, we could say that I'm on page 2 and I'm number 196 on the ladder, or we can just scroll up here and block that out and say that I'm the number 1 Lightforged Paladin in North America. Oh, yeah. So I think we'll go with that one. The number 1 Lightforged Holy Paladin in North America at your service. First things first, let's get you some talents. I got these talents from Reeceboss's 10.2 guide he just put out down in the description. I'll let him talk you through when and why you pick all this stuff. He goes through it in detail, and he is the top player, and not like the top human player or Lightforged, but just the top player on the European Solo Shuffle ladder. He got this build from a Twitch streamer named Iris or something. He mentions the guy, and then he put it in his guide and said, this is the build you want to play. And if he says this is the build you want to play, this is it. I ran a different build to 1800, but, you'll see a lot of the top paladins now that we've lost our set bonus. They're coming out of Holy Prism. And some other changes you can see as we change back into the build. Coming in here to Barrier. Barrier is very powerful now. Almost everybody's running Big Glimmer. Big Glimmer with the 2-piece is just phenomenal. It's huge healing and protection on the DPS that you're pumping it into, which just is so cool both thematically and functionally, you know. And like I said, with the 2-piece, she's thick and she puts out. So Big Glimmer's just sexy as fuck right now. I'm not going to go through all these talents because Reeceboss does it in that guide and you need to watch it. So if you're interested in why you pick these talents and stuff, he covers it all in the guide. On top of, you can watch some of his gameplay. And watching some of the top players in the world is one of the best ways to get better. One of the things I will say quickly, though, when it comes to PvP talents, a lot of the top players are running the Searing Glare. But if you're just starting out, leave this to cleanse the weak. And one of the things Reece says in that video, and one of the things I completely agree with, and I want to reiterate in mine, is that you do not change your spec while you're learning. And don't go in there and copy an RBG spec for Battlegrounds and all this bullshit. Take this spec and do not come out of it. Do it in PvE, do it in PvP, random Battlegrounds, whatever. Learn this spec because you grab all of these abilities, you put them down here, and then you learn how to use them all. Talents are sorted out. Now, let's talk the keys to success on a Holy Paladin, and that's cooldowns. And one cooldown in particular we want to start with, Tears Deliverance. This is the key to winning, especially in solo shuffle, but also in them randoms, the team fights. You got to get this Tears Deliverance out. You click on it, you, up to 5 allies, start beaming. And if you heal somebody who has it, you can add time to it, so it can be extended up to a maximum of 40 seconds. So you can add 20 seconds to it. And that's going to outlast most cooldowns in the game, and that's why it's okay to get it up a little early because of how long it lasts. It's kind of nice to have that extra time on there. This is what's going to get you through that huge burst that's popping off at the beginning of a match when you've got Demon Hunters and Warriors and everybody popping, you know, Rep Paladins, everybody's popping big. They're all going hammer. This is what's going to help carry you through that. So we're just going to come out. What do I tell you? What I tell you at the start of the video. You don't listen to me. Tears. Let's just get it out. So you get that tears up, and everybody you see gleaming with it, if you hit them with Holy Shocks and Flash of Lights, which seems very likely to happen, you're going to extend that time, and you can add up to 20 seconds on it. I can't stress enough to you, get your tears up. Get your tears up. This is a huge and powerful healing cooldown. It's so awesome. I just fucking love Tears Deliverance. And when I get a precog and I cast a massive Tears Deliverance in the middle of a bunch of hordes because I'm all DR'd out, you know, or I'm sitting in like a bop, and then I get that precog Tears Deliverance off, and just all my teammates start filling up, and it's just like this damn pal. You can see, dude. You can see how it crushes them, and it's just the best. It's just amazing. So, Tears Deliverance. We're going to be talking cooldowns. That's what you've got to get out. You've got to get your cooldowns out. That's why you're not having success. I mean, there's guys up there at 24, 2,500. Now, their understanding of the game is so much greater, and that really helps them. We're not going to have that. I don't even know what a lot of other classes do, especially like when it comes to the dragons or monks or the shit that they've added. It's really confusing to me. But you don't have to get to where, you know, I get. If you want to go to the top, you're going to need to know what everybody does and everything. But if you just want to have fun and try to get that 1800 Mog, I got you, family. I got you. And what am I telling you? I'm telling you, cast Tears Deliverance on CD. Well, as a CD. 1.5 minute cooldown. This is such a powerful ability. So awesome. You hold your fucking badass hammer in the air and you just put the loving out to all your teammates. And remember, they get that extra 15% healing from all your, you know, heals. And, you know, that stacks up with this extra healing here and, you know, extra healing down here. And so you can just get these massive flash of lights. And while we're talking about flash of lights, because if you don't know, Holy Paladins are flash of light and a lot more. You're going to be casting a ton of flash of lights. This is probably a good time to bring in Barrier of Faith. This is a really cool talent. And if you're not familiar with it, and to be quite frank, I'm not as familiar with it as I would like to be, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. 30-second cooldown, which is great. 40-yard range, amazing. Lasts for 12 seconds, and what it is, you put it on a target, they get a 75k shield, and then as you pump into them and you heal them up, they get a shield every 6 seconds, and it'll stack up if it's not getting knocked up. I mean, you could build up a massive shield on someone, or, you know, it can kind of take the edge off and help mitigate a lot of damage. And it's just there for you every 30 seconds. We always talk about trading cooldowns, but a lot of times you find yourself where a lot of these classes maybe don't have a full go, but they have a mini go. Well, having a barrier of faith can really help in that situation.
Sanctuary.
That barrier goes out. Now I just flash heal into it, and every once in a while it'll pop back out.
Rebuke. Asphyxiate.
See, and now he's got a nice little shield on him up there.
Execution sentence.
There you go. And so this is what I'm trying to tell you. We've got tiers that we want to get up right away. And then they're going hammer on our guy over here. We're going to put up that barrier, and then we're going to hit him. And we're going to be in this defensive stance. We're getting aura. He's getting the power of that glimmer. And remember, glimmer reduces damage taken. Now, I think this is actually 8% in PvP, or so, I don't remember. It's not 10, I don't think. Then they're ticking with your tiers. Then you can put that barrier on them, heal into that, and they're getting, so they've got that damage reduction. They're getting that shield that's popping up from your extra healing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy cool, and really, really a lot of fun. And let us do remember the old ways as we talk about the ancient and splendid cooldowns that have been with the Paladins since the beginning. First up, Blessing of Protection. Oh shit, that was Lay on Hands. Fuck. Okay, Lay on Hands.
Dragon Breath. Psychic Scream. Counter down. Ice Block. Ice Block down.
Guy, you gotta get out. You gotta get out. You gotta get out.
Poly. Guardian Spirit. Alter Time.
Lay on Hands is awesome in Battlegrounds and anywhere there isn't dampening. Here's the problem with Lay on Hands. As dampening goes on, it becomes less and less effective, which is just really awkward for something with a 7-minute cooldown. So you want to use it early in a solo shuffle match. That's what the top Paladins will tell you. Okay, here's the problem with that. You go in there, someone gets DK gripped in, you know, and a Demon Hunter and DK just start going Mongo on them. Meanwhile, the Resto Druid is, you know, opening and cloning you, and you're dealing with all that by yourself with absolutely no help. And so what happens is you come out and you throw this Lay on Hands up and you knock their health bar up. But the way damage is right now, they get bursted right back down. Sometimes when you hit this, you're like, did I even cast it? Because the health just disappears as fast as it comes. That's how bursty things are. Then on top of that, now they have Forbearance. We have a situation where we have a 7-minute cooldown that applies a 30-second debuff after you use it, where you can't use another cooldown on that target. That's risky to use. The combination of every class having some type of Mortal Strike, dampening, and burst being so high that, you know, any health added is almost immediately removed. This cooldown needs a little loving, because at 7 minutes, it's just got way too many drawbacks for what you get. Still love this ability. I just hope it gets a little loving for that 7-minute cooldown it has. Now we're going to talk about Blessing of Protection. You'll remember grants immunity to physical damage. Hunters, monks, ferals, warriors, rogues-ish, demon hunters-ish, DKs-ish. Classes with a mix of physical and magic kind of get by a lot of this, but they shut down a lot. You see one of your DPS get pulled into a big pile of slappy hands, you can throw this Blessing of Protection on them, and it's going to stop a ton of that damage, a ton of the pet damage. Very good against hunters.
Intervene down. Dispel.
Beast Wrath, has he got it? Let's just do it. See, Super Smash.
Countered.
Just bop that. I should have bopped it earlier, but I hit the wrong button. I wanted to. Remember, with Blessing of Protection, it can be purged. Your priests can purge it, shamans can purge it, demon hunters can purge it. A lot of classes that have purge. Remember that with the Echoing Blessings talent, even if the Blessing of Protection is purged, that the person you put it on still gets 15% damage reduction for 8 seconds. So it's not a completely wasted use of the ability, which is huge to have. So make sure you always have this in PvP. So here's your big ones right here. Lay on Hands, Blessing of Protection, Barrier of Faith, Tears Deliverance. You need to be using these. That's what I'm telling you. You got to get them out. Don't worry about whether you won or lost a match. What you want to make sure that you do at the end of a match is that you've used all of these. But we start with, this is number 1, we need to get our tears up. Get your fucking tears up. On top of those, let's add in this bad boy, Aura Mastery. If you're in Devotion Aura and you hit Aura Mastery, everybody gets a 30% damage reduction in PvP. It doesn't last that long. You'll see it's only 8 seconds. But if you time this right, it can just counter a ton of damage.
Nullifying Shroud. Down.
Here we go.
Landslide. Mind Games. Deep Breath. Infusion.
That was good because I got the Aura Mastery out for the big Dragon Breath thing because that nukes. I mean, it absolutely nukes. Very, very cool. And if you come to your talents here, well, first you pick up the ability, but then look, you can come down here. If you're just starting out beginners, I always suggest that you take this one. It really gets it down to like a minute and a half. Now, it's only 8 seconds, but on a minute and a half cooldown, that's pretty powerful. What I like to do is your DPS are going in, right? There's your 2 beacons. They're heading in. You come out, you stay back, and you get your tears up. And then you follow in with that Aura Mastery. Those guys are all taking reduced damage. Because right now, you're needing multiple cooldowns to keep people up, especially in random battlegrounds or battleground blitz where 3 or more, or sometimes 4 or 5 DPS are all hitting one target. It's going to take a lot. Defensive cooldowns aren't what they used to be at the burst level. Now, they've brought it down a little bit since the launch of the patch, so it seems like it's getting better, but I think we've got a little ways to go with a few classes, but that's okay. Don't make excuses. Just focus on getting better. And this season, Daybreak is just so crazy. Now, I've been crazy fortunate, and I've got my 4-piece now. And what you'll see is it takes the cooldown of Daybreak down from a minute to 45 seconds, which is just crazy because this is such a powerful healing cooldown. And you'll remember when you hit it, it gives you Holy Shock a burst effect. So it shoots 3 Holy Shocks. So it's boom, boom, boom. You'll see. You will sometimes have to wait for those charges to come in before you could do it. But if you have 2 stored up, you can pump this both as a lot of healing or a lot of damage to top someone off. Say deep dampening and there's no reason to heal really anymore. Instead of going defensive with it, you just go offensive and gun someone down. A lot of fun in random battlegrounds to do that, especially if you add Denounce into it. Nobody's really running Denounce right now because there's just too much damage. There's no time to squeeze in any fun. It's all damage. As soon as you possibly can, get your 2 set. You gotta have 2 set. It's crazy good. It gives you holy reverberations. And what those are, when you put Glimmer on a target, so you put Glimmer up, you get Glimmer on them. Nothing happens. But whenever that Glimmer is either refreshed or it expires, what they'll get is a few seconds of that like 0.9 seconds healing that you get from tears. I Holy Shock and refresh it there. There's some holy reverberation healing. And, it's just a little bit. But look, the more you Holy Shock, the more it stacks up. So it just keeps adding this holy reverberation healing over time effect, the more that you Holy Shock someone. So in this case, now you've got your Glimmer up, you Wog, and then you come in here and let's bring in Daybreak. You Daybreak, and you got 2 stacks, but watch, you Daybreak yourself. There it is. And you could do it again. And then you could, here comes another one off cooldown. Bam, do it again. So it can stack up to 6 stacks, right? I think that's what it is. Yeah, up to 6 times. So our 2-piece adds a very strong, heal over time effect to our Holy Shock, refreshing our Glimmers. It gets very strong when you add Daybreak to it, which is kind of cool that the 4-piece then brings Daybreak down to a 45-second cooldown. Now remember with Daybreak, if you just come out here and you're trying to hit it, I'm spamming it, you don't have any Glimmer of Lights active. You have to pull the Glimmer off of someone to activate it. So you got to get a Glimmer out, which is why when I come out, I have a Glimmer up. And it lasts 30 seconds. And now I'm getting a Holy Reverb too there for a few seconds. I can stack that up again. And you can see every time I do, now I hit Daybreak, and now I really stack it up. And you can see the healing gets stronger and stronger. So it can become some really nice healing. So definitely get that 2-piece as soon as you can. And make sure we're adding Daybreak onto the cooldown list. Freedoms, my brother. Let freedom ring. You know, this gets people out of trouble. It lets them get back into trouble. You keep those freedoms rolling on your DPS, and they're going to love you. There's a few ways to use it. One is that, you know, you just save it for when you need to get someone out of something. But every once in a while, those warriors or those demon hunters go big. I like to throw a freedom on them. You know, that can be bad in a way too, but a lot of times they just go hammer and they just crush, especially at low levels. Keeping your DH or your warrior just trucking the whole match can put you miles ahead, and that's just the reality of solo shuffle. So I don't know if that's probably not great advice at 2,400 threes, but let me tell you, down at 1,600 solo shuffle, let freedom ring. And don't forget, you know, the power of freedom in yourself, and then hit that pony, and you're gone. Especially with this build now, with this, you add these extra 2 seconds, you can really kite away from people and get, you know, where you need to go. And Echoing Blessings comes in again here, 15% increase in speed for your Blessing of Freedom people. So even when you're running around town, just to the auction house and stuff, just throw that freedom on yourself. A little mini rocket boots. Nah, it ain't no rocket boots. Freedom and rocket boots. That's the real combo. That's the Warsong Gold Stream right there, baby. Live it. And now to our beloved Blessing of Sacrifice. Hugely amazing ability because it's so thematic. You put this on someone and you're saying, you're about to get hammered, and I see that. But I'm going to take 20% of everything that you get hit with at full bore because I'm trying to protect you, partner. You know? It's me and you in this now. What you do is you got a beacon on them and you got a beacon on yourself. So as you're healing them and they're getting trucked, you're still healing yourself. So you're healing the damage on both of you. And then those reverbs too, right? Another great thing about Blessing of Sacrifice, if you don't know this, is that if you get it out in time and then you're CC'd, say into a sheep or a hunter trap, because you're taking damage, it'll break you out of that CC.
Hex. Teleport.
Hex, so I throw the sack out. There's a good example of that. Pops me out, bust him out, Daybreak. Now, this doesn't apply to Cyclone. However, if you are into Cyclone and you've got your Blessing of Sacrifice out, whatever damage that target's taken won't be applied to you because you'll be immune to it in Cyclone. So it's kind of nice sometimes if you get a sack out and you see your DPS is going to be fine because you got it out. So that whole time you're going on Cyclone DR, they're fine and you're really not taking any damage. This is a crazy good ability, and it becomes even more powerful the better your awareness becomes.
Head stun. Breathing Ultra time down.
And throw the trap first if you can. Now, the problem is you got to remember where the trap is, because I've done that and then run back into it as well. And then I like to hit it, see, once I get my sack out and just get it down. Otherwise, you'll hit it later because it lasts longer than you think. In Ret Paladins, I think this is what kind of defines good Rets from bad Rets. I haven't had a Retribution Paladin put Blessing of Sacrifice on me since pre-COVID in random battlegrounds. But this is just a crazy powerful ability and a real bonding moment, if you ask me. And that's really all there is to it. Get your tears up, right? Get tears up, get your Barrier of Faith out, use your sack, get your freedoms out, make sure you use your Aura Mastery. Blessing of Sack to keep you out of CC when you need it. Lay on Hands as a last resort, but remember it's got some drawbacks, kind of risky. On top of that, knock your Daybreaks, your Divine Toll, your Blessing of Seasons. Oh, and make sure you got your beacons on the right targets. Make sure you dispel the right stuff, but don't dispel the wrong stuff. And the list goes on. And this is where I'm trying to come to you. You gotta relax. There's a ton of cooldowns. And that's the key to Holy Paladin. Learning to get all of this shit out before you die in glorious battle. It's okay if you're going 0-5 and 0-6. We all do it. I've gone 0-6. I've done it twice this season. So already. And there's more on the way, I can tell you. I got a lot to learn. I gotta keep playing till the game slows down. And you do too. But don't let it get you down. There's a lot of cooldowns to use, and learning to use them all and get them all out takes time. So don't be too hard on yourself. Go easy. Take your time. Start in some random battlegrounds. Work yourself into Battleground Blitz to get some gear. Get your 2-piece. Craft your pieces if you need to. And then when you're ready and you've got some practice using your cooldowns and you kind of understand them, you head into Solo Shuffle to get destroyed. Okay? So don't be discouraged. If you're a new paladin trying to come up, it's hard out there. But you'll figure it out. And there's people doing it. Just go out there, give it your best. Be brave enough to meet your fate. That's all it is. Just badass T-Mogs and awesome fucking cooldowns. It's all we know. I have seen a great vision of you, young paladin. Cooldowns going, T-Mog glowing, sexy ass hair blowing in the wind. You shall become a glorious member of our holy order. No more talking about it. Time to be about it. Oklahoma out.